to the October meeting of Queens Community Board 6. I want to thank the board for being here tonight. We know that for all of you to be here tonight, you have to not be somewhere else. I'm a mom, I have two 16-year-olds, I've got a husband who's doing college fair tonight. And I think he probably would have had me doing it. But that's okay, because this is what we're here doing. So we know that tonight you're here. Maybe someone else is watching your kids, maybe you had to give up being somewhere else tonight, doing something else with your time, but we really appreciate the fact that each of you are here tonight and committing to the work of this community and the work of this board. On Saturday morning, while most of us slept, families were being plucked from their homes and murdered in Israel. Tonight, as we gather here, the death toll in that region continues to grow, and despair is felt throughout the world. Our hearts are burdened. We must pause and have a moment of silence in the midst of all of this strife. So if we could all just take a moment, please. Thank you all. As a reminder, we are recording our meeting tonight. As usual, the camera is located in the center of the room. Recordings of our meeting, our monthly meetings, are posted within 48 hours. Also note that we are posting committee meetings now as well online to increase transparency to the public. So know that these meetings do not get posted immediately or not live streamed immediately, but do get posted after a certain period of time. Usually 48 hours, because believe it or not, it's a relatively slow process of an upload. Tonight, attending remotely are Howard Birnbaum, Dr. Renee, and Sherry Rolnick. They're able to attend remotely because they've satisfied the requirements of extraordinary circumstances. If you need to refer to them, they are on our website in the About section, right under the bylaws. Just some direction to you all on the on WebEx tonight. Understand if you have a question, use the raise hand feature. Mark Laster will be monitoring. You were sent instructions earlier today regarding the election tonight. If you have any questions, please communicate them via the chat, not by chatting. You must be seen and heard for the majority of the meeting tonight. And heard basically means when we call on you for a specific vote for yourself. So otherwise, please remain on mute, okay? Thank you so much. Now, before we, this here, sorry, we had a very busy setup tonight. So, Michael Arcadi, would you mind leading us tonight in the pledge?
Please stand and face the colors. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And no surprise here, as usual, we will begin the meeting with comments from the public. As a simple reminder, a few adjustments were made to the time limits for public comment contributors, sorry. And just as to remind us one more time, individual speakers from our district get 3 minutes, organizational representatives get 5 minutes from our district. Individual speakers from outside of CV6 get 2, and organization representatives outside of CV6 get 3. We ask that you please not interrupt or talk over the public speaker, even when we hear ideas or sentiments we do not agree with. Tonight, we have 10 speakers or comments. We have a few folks that sent theirs in, so I will be reading those. Speakers, you will be given a warning when you have 30 seconds remaining. Our first Vice President, Peter Beadle, will be keeping the time tonight and will interject when you have 30 seconds remaining. And I think that's all the instructions that we need. So the first person I have is Odette Wilkins. Odette, are you here this evening? Okay, we'll come back. Jennifer Matten from Schwartz Brothers, Jeffers Memorial. Good evening. Come on up, I'll give you my microphone.
Thank you.
Oh, she gets, yeah, she gets 5.
Love you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Martin. I work at Schwartz Brothers, which is just a few blocks down. Schwartz Brothers has been on Queens Boulevard, I think, for longer than I'm alive. And we now have, within that one building, 4 funeral homes, 3 Jewish funeral homes, and 1 non-sectarian funeral home. We have Schwartz Brothers, we have Parkside, we have Sinai Chapels, and our non-sectarian funeral home is Forest Park Funeral Home. We recently did a renovation. We have a beautiful space. We're open till 10 o'clock at night, and we want to do something for the community. So we're looking to host monthly free events. So far, we've hosted a Broadway show, tune evening, a little strange at a funeral home, but it was packed and people loved it. We did a shredding event with Lynn Schulman. We did a bereavement group. And my next one, which is next week, I'm really excited about this, is Ask the Appraiser. It's going to be an Antiques Roadshow style event from 4 to 7. You can bring whatever you want. We're going to have a jewelry appraiser, an art appraiser. I don't know who the third appraiser is going to be. The parking lot's going to be open. We are looking forward to inviting people in and giving them an idea of their family heirlooms and valuables and what they're worth. It's going to be fun. Again, a little different to be in a funeral home to do this, but we really want to be able to do stuff for the community that's a little different than just funerals. We're going to have refreshments because everyone likes snacks. I've left a bunch of these brochures. I don't know if I've left enough for everyone who might want one, but Schwartz Brothers, Jennifer, all you have to do if you don't remember my name is call up and say, hey, I want more information about your event, or I want to be put on your list, because again, we're looking to do really great things every month for the community. Thank you for having me. I'm not going to be here at the end because I'm actually a board member of Community Board 8, so I'm going to run down there now.
Wow.
But I appreciate meeting you all and the time that you gave me. So that would be helpful. It's 1 week from today, Wednesday the 18th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Travel safe to your meeting. Next up is Florence Arno, or Arnau.
Yes.
Did I get it right the first time?
The first
Arno?
time.
Okay, come on up, Florence. Florence, you're gonna get 3 minutes tonight, and you do 1 to 30 seconds, okay?
Good evening, I'm Florence Arno. I've been in Forest Hills 30 years. I'm on the border between Rego Park, Forest Hills. My comment is about the horrific airplane noise that I'm getting in my vicinity from 6 a.m. in the morning, waking me up till past midnight. This is a quality of life issue, and anyone else, I'd welcome hearing any comments if anyone else is hearing them and seeing them. This is dangerous, it's pollution, it's also very loud, wakes you up and doesn't let you go to bed at night. I'm a senior and I would have liked my golden years to be spent in peaceful environment in my own apartment. Very sad that the FAA and Port Authority want to hear nothing about it, and that I'm the only one, it seems, that cares or that it bothers. So I'm here tonight to find out if anyone else hears planes in their apartment or private homes. In regards to that, I'm representing that area, 67th Avenue in Forest Hills.
I'm with you, but
Thank
you know,
I'm
my
glad
mother
to
used
hear.
to go crazy. That was it.
It sounds louder than the airport. It's as if I were living on a tarmac. And that's not my idea of peace and quiet and quality of life. It scares people. I'm sure babies can't sleep. You can't do anything like watch TV or listen to music because you hear planes. So to some people it sounds trivial, but to me it's very important. Peace and quiet, peace of mind. And I'd like for our Forest Hills area to have a liaison or find out how they can do something about it through the FAA and Port Authority. I've sent umpteen emails to Port Authority and they just ignore it. I feel our community deserves better than that, especially for long-term residents like myself and others. It's about time that someone said something. No, I would like to see a change. And besides that, there's now a rule we can't get heat in our apartments if it's 68 degrees or less. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. So, Rule 97 or, anyway. So, besides hearing airplanes and living in a cold apartment, I have nothing further to really say. I just wanted to know if anyone else out there is bothered by airplane noise. You can talk to me.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have Marty Levinson. Marty? Marty, come on down.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening. I'm gonna give you that.
Do I get 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
Marty, you get 3. Oh, when you signed up, did you let us know that?
Yes.
You did?
Oh,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry.
Well, I have a 3-minute and a 5-minute version. So can I do my-
Well, what do you think is the most effective? You wanna do the 5-minute version?
That would be nice.
That would be nice, all right. I like being nice. Okay, so Peter, hit the man with 5 minutes. Can you do that? 5 minutes is queued up. You can do this. Here, that's all you. Floor's yours.
Okay, hello, everybody. Marty Levinson, and I am a member of the Concerned Citizens of Forest Hills. Thank you for giving me another opportunity to voice my concerns about the very negative effect that many disruptive concerts on the Forest Hills Stadium are having on the quality of life for my family and for my neighbors. Many of our members do not live in the private community of Forest Hills Gardens, but in the apartment buildings and multifamily houses in close proximity to the stadium. Unfortunately, many of the problems that I talked about in my last appearance here remain. What are our main concerns? You remember they are noise, no firm guarantee that a 10 p.m. curfew will be observed, the number of concerts, and traffic congestion. On concert nights from my house, I can hear the deafening sounds coming from the stadium. It hasn't always been that way. At home searching for peace, we are obliged to close our double-pane windows, pull down the Venetian blinds, draw the drapes, and turn on the air conditioners and the TV. All this does not keep the windows from rattling. Our school-age neighbors' children are unable to concentrate on homework or get to sleep. The tiny tots are terrified by the blasting boom, 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 emanating from loudspeakers turned up to an excessive volume. Events are not only planned for the evening, the disruption from the Saturday, August 5th Rock the Bells event that took place all day long did nothing to enhance our quality of life. Without due consultation for next summer, the elitist West Side Tennis Club has proposed that 30 events be scheduled. 30 events in a season is more than is considerate. 30 events equals 1 month at the nicest time of the year. On those days, it will make our life unbearable. 30 events, in my mind, equals greed. There will continue to be road closures, traffic jams, public parking spots taken away from the residents for the convenience of the West Side Tennis Club and the concert promoters. And then there's at the end of the concert, exiting hordes will continue to do what? Urinate on the lawns, scream, yell. Sorry, is that count?
Yeah.
When concerned citizens of Forest Hills using the Freedom of Information Law requested noise reports from the DEP, they were told that no data of base readings was available. Things don't have to be so bad. With mandatory, reasonable restrictions, it would be possible to have concerts and also maintain the quality of life in the neighborhood. May I add that concerts in both Central Park and Prospect Park must end by 10 p.m. And here's an interesting note, not aware of it. Conditions in the neighborhood have become so intolerable that the Forest Hills Garden Corporation, the entity that owns the streets upon which the Westside Tennis Club is a tenant, is now engaged in a legal battle against the Westside Tennis Club. We will have to wait to see how this plays out in the courts. And finally, I want to thank Commander David Cordano and the 112th Precinct. Their officers are doing a magnificent job under the most difficult circumstances. And finally, we'll see how this goes over. Gentlemen of the community and ladies of the community board, it would be very nice if you could pass a resolution favoring reasonable restrictions to be put in place, opposing concerts on school nights, on religious holidays, and insist that the number of events scheduled be reduced, not increased, and that the noise code be rigorously enforced. Thank you. We think that common sense modifications designed to relieve traffic congestion and the parking problems for residents in the heavily impacted streets would be necessary. Thank you all very much.
Appreciate you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and this is perfect. I'll take that. And if you did give public comment tonight and you do have it typed up like this gentleman did, if you could just email it to the same address where you signed up, we would really appreciate it. It would make it great. So if you could email this to us too, that would be fabulous. Thank you so much for your testimony tonight.
Thank you.
Next is a testimony I'm reading. Her name is from Amy Hugh. If you could time me for 3 minutes, that would be great. Thank you to all the elected officials for the work you do for our community. It is greatly appreciated. I was here a few months ago and expressed my frustration with the concerts at Forest Hill Stadium. The promoter, Tiebreaker, and the landlord, WSTC, Westside Tennis Club, I am hoping again that Community Board 6 and our elected officials can effect some changes so that the concerts can continue with community support rather than opposition. Not much has changed since I last spoke. I live a quarter mile from the stadium and can hear every song clearly. It is difficult to leave the windows open during summer months unless I want to hear a lot of noise and bass. The thumping of the music is something I would like to turn off but have no control over. I am hoping that our elected officials can intervene and subject the stadium to obey noise codes. The bass causes my neighbor's home to shake, and even though the DEP has taken some sound measurements, nothing has improved. I have heard that there were some citations issued, but the sound quality has not changed. As I've said a few months ago, in the past, I wanted to hear some of the music, but it wasn't loud enough to reach my house. Now I still find myself getting up to close the windows on loud concert nights, only to realize once again they are already closed and I can still hear the bass. Also, I visited a neighbor who lives diagonally across the street from the stadium. From her house, I feel like I am at the concert. It is unbelievably loud, and she has young children who take naps and sleep early. It is not difficult for the concert promoter to dial down the volume. Other issues include the number of concerts this year. Our small neighborhood is not built to have 30 concerts. The street closures, rerouting, and traffic are a burden to us. We can't handle 10,000 concert goers, all the extra cars, all the Ubers, all the honking, and all the garbage left behind. We don't have a parking lot like other stadiums. Also, some concerts are on school nights. There's one tomorrow, a school night. In fact, there will be concerts for the next 3 days in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Children have Saturday and Sunday activities and schools to go to. Some events are all day, over 2 days in a row. And there was a concert on Rosh Hashanah several weeks ago. Please help improve the current situation, limit the total number of concerts, enforce the city noise code, address problems with traffic, parking, and trash. Continue to end all shows at 10 p.m. Discontinue day-long events. I thank you for your time. Okay, next up is Irina Vovsha. Irina? I hope I did that okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on down. Irina, you're gonna get 6 minutes tonight. Peter will let you know when you've got 30 seconds remaining. Okay?
3 minutes.
You have 3.
Okay, alright.
Nobody gets 6
I would like
minutes.
more. Okay, good evening everyone. So, I don't have a paper, but I know my speech by heart. Now, what is happening in Forest Hills, in the area which I live, there is a crime. The crime has been committed against all the people who live from Burn Street until Metropolitan Street. This area and two laws, New York laws, are broken. One, our residential area is, if you look at the map, it's written a residential area, it's not commercial area. How come? Who made this decision, criminal decision, to have the concert in the open stadium that's surrounded by houses, private houses, the apartment buildings, and we hear every noise from this? Who allowed 17,000 people to come to the residential area and literally destroy our lives? Who? Who did it? And why politicians are so bribed, are so corrupted that nobody takes any action? This is number one. So the rule, the first law was violated. Our rights are violated. Number two, noise. According, every policeman will tell you that the noise must be 42 decibels. 40 decibels, even not the way how I talk. It's just the regular conversation. If you can hear these sounds, we call it noise, miles away from the concert, you call it noise? You call it you call it that it's just noise? It's not noise. It is violation of the law of New York. The level should be 42 decibels. At night at 10 o'clock, once they all come from the concert along my street, all the honks, all the screams of the people, this is already not even 7, because after 10 o'clock you're supposed to have 7 decibels. So all the laws are violated. Now, I will tell you exact examples of what happens with the people. I know one person, her name is Sarah. She lives, I know exactly where. She got into hospital as a result of palpitations of the heart because of all these bad sounds. I sit in my house and I need to listen to every bad sound. I have a headache in particular place, and you know what? After 5 hours of low bass sound, you know what? I'm ready to pick up a gun and start shooting everyone. Although I'm not a violent person, I'm a teacher and I'm a very peaceful person. But guess what? They drive me crazy like many other people. Okay, so anyone, okay, I will give you a lot of examples of what is happening. It's not just a concert, it's the whole issue of what they're doing to us. All the, it's just impossible to live. They destroy our life. And I have a question. If there is anyone here who has integrity and guts to stand up against these politicians that have the power and the money to impose what they do to all the people in Forest Hills, is there anyone? Can you do something? Because I was here in May, nothing happened. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that issues can get very frustrating, especially when you try, and they don't work. But I would ask that we watch when we're frustrated, what we say. I get it, and I get it, Irina. I know, I can hear your frustration, and I know you feel like you're back here saying the same darn things. But we need to be very careful with what we say. Because we live in a time where people may misunderstand. Thank you, Peter. And we're also at a time when people are feeling certain things that are happening in the world extremely deeply. So we want to be careful with our language. Language does count. I'm not going to belabor this point. My kids say I do that quite a bit. So I'll take their advice tonight. Next up is Carla Cheek. Carla? Carla, are you here this evening?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh. Carla, good evening. Nice to see you.
Good evening.
And you are you're going to get 3 minutes from Mr. Peter. As you saw, he'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left. Do you want me to take your phone for you? Hold it while because you're holding a lot there. Yes.
Good evening, council and attendees. My name is Carla Cheek, and I've been a part of Forest Hills for 35 years. My goal and my presence here today is to here today proposing for parking permits for Forest Hills, Austin Street area. Let me off by stating there's a dirty little secret taking place in the back streets of Forest Hills, Austin Street, and it's not the weed shops. I'm not against businesses, tourism, or foot traffic, but I'm here to be a fair voice for the residents and citizens that live in 11375 area code. Let me begin the issue points such as taking parking spots. Queens Boulevard, bike lanes, bus lanes, commercial traffic is being pushed back in residential areas. E-bikes, city bikes, parking is scattered everywhere where you can't even put your car in or out because they're lying there on the floor. Double parking, commuter parking, drop and ride train. No standing signs are popping up everywhere. No loading signs are popping up everywhere. Not including fire hydrants, street cuts, and walkways. Forest Hill has been battling on a daily basis for parking for alternate site. We pay the meter, we're forced to park blocks away. People are so desperate that they're parking now so they can get 2 parking spots. My question is why no one on the council have not addressed this. For Forest Hills residents, we are Forest Hills. And this is just common sense. Out of 80,000 residents that live in Forest Hills, there's only 10 parking spots. Why pay a private homeowner when the city can generate parking permits? And personally, I can't go in and out my house because the parking dictates when I can come in and out my house. And I'm gonna give you an example. My mother-in-law passed away a couple of weeks ago. It took me 2 hours to get back into my house. It was very stressful for me. Safety. I'm older and I'm weaker, and my vehicle was broken in 3 times. The biggie is crime, Comstat. They're fighting over parking spots in the back. All possible, you can model after Long Beach, One Island, New Hyde Park, Boston, and I have a quote. Never allow a person to tell you no that doesn't have the power to tell you yes. And that's by Eleanor Roosevelt. Thank you, council and attendees, and I will be finding a lawyer to fight for parking. Thank you.
Okay, next up is, Yetkin? Is, Yetkin use?
Thank you.
Or Yuche? No? Okay. And then I have one to read from, Uma, Hardeo. I am Uma Hardeo, reaching out on behalf of Teen Advocates. Teen Advocators is a youth organization located in Queens that is set on amplifying youth voices and serving the community. Teen Advocators have been working endlessly to create better communities and advocate for change. We have done town halls featuring other youth organizations such as Voting for 16 NYC, discussing topics that need to be changed or fixed in NYC. We have created petitions, online events, and in-person events to further fulfill our mission. Just recently, we had a bake sale with all the money raised going to the food bank for NYC and towards future events of helping struggling families receive food and shelter. We raised $268 in total with both online and cash donations. I started this organization in late July and I'm still working towards bettering and developing it every day. Thank you, Uma. Okay, Mariana Monova, come on up.
Thank you.
Mariana is with Valeria Arms Residence, correct?
Correct.
And she is going to get 5 minutes because she's representing the residents. Nice to have you. Thank you.
Having me. Thank you. My name is Mariana Monova, living in Forest Hills on Austin Street, and I am the backup of Carla. We are representing one and the same organization, Valeria Arms Co-op, but pretty much I can say that we represent a 8-block residential zone between Union Turnpike and Ascan Avenue that was surprised in recent weeks, I would say, with only for 8-block stretch. We represent Union Turnpike, Ascan Avenue, multiple co-ops, and we have 3 loading zone signs that constantly generate one thing. My crying, because I'm a mother of special needs kid, She is a mother of a special mentally challenged kid. We have multiple disability in our building, disability people, and this is all across this stretch and all over, town. I do understand that neighborhood loading zones are being introduced throughout the Big Apple, left and right. I read, like you read and whatsoever, but 3 loading zones for 8-block stretch, and you know it very well that Austin Street is one-way street between Ascan and Union Turnpike. What happened is during COVID, ladies and gentlemen, multiple trucks came into the neighborhood and they continue to grow generously each and every day because they supply us with what we need. But at the same time, they get out of our way while we get no spots for parking. We cannot compete with other co-ops because we don't have the side streets of Queens Boulevard. We don't have any side streets. We just have one Nordic, absolutely one-way street. And out of 8 blocks again, we have 3 loading zones. The only beneficial card here played is the corporations who don't get ticketed anymore. They were ticketed non-stop during COVID time. We get ticketed every single day today. First of all, did you get as a community board notification? Did you get the data, the analysis? Based on what? We got 3 loading zones. This means that on average one corporation, the width, if you just see it as all our Forest Hills residents, if you see the width of each corporate building, is approximately 5 to 6 nice parking spots. And now with the 3 loading zone, we have we have less than 4 cars parking for 72 residents only in our building. That is preposterous. Where is the data? Where did the community board get involved in saying, why do we need those loading zones? Because unless you're a corporation, we just being penalized for living in Forest Hills. I appreciate your time, and I hope you will get us answers. Why do we get so much penalized? I know parking is a big issue everywhere, but this is just not right. Too much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so very much. Final call for Odette Wilkins. Okay, this now closes the public comment section for this evening. We are now moving into the business portion of the evening. Just to make it clear, as we move into the business portion of the evening, this is conversation with the board. We will not be able to take questions from the public and or comments from the public, but we welcome you to stay and to remain at the meeting if you want to kind of watch how the sausage is made. I would like at this time to call Senator Addabbo to come on up and speak. It's nice to have him here tonight. Thank you for coming all this morning.
Hello, everyone. I did sneak in. I don't know where the exits are. Hello, everybody. How we doing? Hello, everyone. I love the public forum part because the passion and the emotions really come out, and I want to thank the public for being here. I want to start off with a couple of thank yous. Thank you to everyone on CB6. Thank you. As a former member of CB10 many, many moons ago, I know what it's like to sit here and listen to these boring politicians speak. So I want to say thank you. Really, thank you for all that you do. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the public for showing. I also want to thank Heather for, I understand when you start off with a moment of silence. I understand that. I want to say thank you. A lot's going on globally, and obviously the situation in Israel is not a good one. We pray more these days, especially when 22 Americans died. So I appreciate the board taking a moment of silence there as well. So just a quick recap of what my office is doing. You know, oddly enough, for some reason, we are dealing with a lot of multiple agency issues right about now in the office, in the district offices. So we're dealing with illegal scooters, and I've been talking to the NYPD and obviously the different precincts in my district and the commanding offices, figuring out how to deal with illegal scooters. There is about a half a dozen proposed pieces of legislation ready for Albany, and we started back in January. I'm a co-sponsor of many of them. Legislatively, it's one way to deal with illegal scooters. It's also about enforcement, and I know the 112 is doing a decent job. I actually went to the Starbucks on Queens Boulevard, right by 71st, and witnessed the 112 confiscating a scooter. And so I know they're doing their job, but the problem is for every scooter that they take off the street, 10 more show up. But it is about enforcement. I love for them to have license plates for a number of reasons, and I think that's part of the problem here. They need to have license plates. So we're gonna be pushing them, and maybe it's the store owner who sells the scooter that requires them, like you do a car, that they require them to have a license plate on the scooter before it leaves the shop. So that is something that we're looking at. The second thing we're trying to work with the NYPD, also the New York City Sheriffs, is the illegal pot shops. I voted no on marijuana only because I didn't think we were ready, and I thought the bill was poorly written. And I'm thinking I was right, only because what's going on now with the illegal pot shops is ridiculous. But we're trying to work, obviously, in having them investigated. If they can close them down, great. Multi-agencies, New York City Sheriffs, New York City NYPD, right, and OCM, Office of Cannabis Management, trying to figure out a way to, obviously identify the illegal shops and try and see what we can do with them. I have identified one team member, one of my staff members on my team, a deputy chief of staff. He actually comes to the city community board meetings, Sean McCabe. Right, so Sean is my point person. When you call my office with a address, your name is anonymous. We make the complaint, and then we follow it up. Sean will follow up. He'll be persistent with OCM, NYPD, sheriffs, anything that needs to be done. I think buildings department got in because a lot of these places have illegal business, but even violations within the shop. So maybe we can call upon buildings department, fire department, other agencies, multiple agency attack to get these illegal pot shops closed. But if you know of any shop in your community that you want us to investigate, just give us the address. We'll give it to Sean. Sean will follow up with law enforcement and follow up with you as well, confidentially, to tell you the status. But this is a problem that I think we need to address. I know we've been dealing with MTA and the LIRR regarding the Forest Hill Station project going on, and obviously that's a multi-year project, and we're going to make sure that any complaint the community may have will be addressed as well. So again, I hear the complaints today, noise and everything else. Please, if my office could be of any help, the office that handles CB6 is the Middle Village office where Sean McCabe is. That number is 718-497-1630. Again, 718-497-1630. That is a 24-hour live operator. So you call that office after 5 because there's a blackout, a brownout, a water main break, whatever it may be, an emergency. And what I mean by emergency, it's not like I lost the car keys or the cat's missing. I can't do that. That's one emergency I can't handle. But serious emergency, that has a 24-hour live operator. So if you call the office, you will get a live operator. God willing, hopefully she pronounces my name right, not like adobo, like the seasoning, but that she actually says it right? Sometimes I do. But if you do call the office, it's a 24-hour live operator. They will call me or my chief of staff who's with me tonight, Raymondo Graziano, and we try and work with you. So again, just keep in mind, the offices has a 24-hour live operator. And lastly, there's rain coming up this week, and we had heavy rains last week. And if you have a situation of flooding by your house, our office, both the Middle Village office and the Woodhaven office, we are handing out free, and please, only if you need one, a rain barrier. They're 4 foot, 6 foot, and 12 foot. And this is our office's response to trying to help people who have flooding during heavy rains. So 4 foot, 6 foot, and 12 foot, these are free rain barriers, so you just have to show up to the office. They're going to ask you, constituents only, I'm sorry, so hopefully you don't live in Leroy's Connery's district. Hopefully you're in my district. Sorry. But you got to show a photo ID and a driver's license or something to show that you're one of mine. But again, if you have flooding in your home, these are rain barriers. You fill up with water right before the storm, and they do stop the water. 4 foot, 6 foot, and 12 foot. We have them at the office. So starting on Friday, if you want to stop by the office for the weekend rain, you can feel free to stop by. Upcoming events, they're all free. You're all welcome to come. On Thursday, October 17th, we're doing Narcan training. This will be at Atlas Park in Glendale, 5:30 p.m. They give you the training, they give you the certification, and you get the free kit because overdoses are avoidable, they're preventable, and we need to obviously work to do something to stop the fentanyl and every other kind of overdose. So Narcan training, October 17th, Thursday, 5:30 at Atlas Park. Let's see here. MetroCard van in front of my Middle Village office. That'll be on Monday, October 30th. Replenish your MetroCard, or if you need a new MetroCard. Again, that's October 30th in front of the Middle Village office. And lastly, job fair. November 17th, Friday, November 17th, at Resorts World Casino, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. a job fair. Now, anybody who walks in the door of the job fair should be able to get a job. I don't care what your background is. So it's part-time, full-time, managerial, secretarial jobs, public, private. This is a job fair for everybody. So if you know someone looking for a job fair, November 17th, results are all 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you know of a business who's looking for workers, the tables are free for the vendor. So if you know of a business who's looking for workers, tell them about the job fair. Please have them call my office. We're looking for vendors. We got roughly 60 vendors right about now. I want 90 or 100. So we have about a month to get some more. So please, if you know any vendors looking for workers, please send them my way. Once again, to everyone in CB6, as a member, as a chair and DM, and of the public, thank you so much for being here. Have a great night, everybody. Okay.
Okay, on to the most exciting part of the night, the minutes. Woo! Do we have, each of you should have gotten a copy in your mailer. Do we have, any objections, any changes? Okay. Is there, yes, ma'am? Okay, can you give me the page?
Page 11, good and welfare, where I mentioned about CVS is closing November 1st. Where it says Medicare use of Part D, has a comma, it should be, or Medicare Advantage Plan.
Okay.
Because you might still think Part D is part of the Advantage Plan, but it's not.
Okay, that's right, that's very important, because sometimes what you call one insurance to one person is called differently, so getting the name right at the onset is correct, so we could make that. Yeah, okay, so with that correction, do we have any more corrections? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes with the correction? Salawa, okay, I have one motion, do I have a second? Okay, Herb is a second, or Howard is a second, thank you, Howard, good to hear you. And, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Awesome. Now, let's move along. Thank you so much for that correction and clarification, Pat. My apologies, Peters, and beating him up. Okay. Now, the next thing on your agenda is rather peculiar and odd, and some of you have asked me questions. I think some of you are afraid to ask questions because what is this? It was called, we had a vote on removal, and we just want to quickly explain sort of what this was. This was in regard to a member who was going to be removed from the board for poor attendance. The following procedures took place. At the conclusion of a regular monthly meeting, the Secretary of Administration had reported that a certain member had accumulated 3 unexcused absences since the commencement of the board's April 1, which is April 1, 2023, till March 31 of next year. And they were in sequence. So the secretary promptly, within 5 business days, informed myself and the affected member of this fact and indicated that 4 excused absences within the same period of time, calendar year, would provide a cause for that member's removal. The Secretary of Administration then having reported 4 unexcused absences during the board's April. So we got another absence then, promptly again, within 5 business days, informed myself and the affected member of this fact. This was indicated that this provided cause for the member's removal, and we scheduled a vote of that member's removal at the next regularly scheduled meeting. Now notice of the action was included, of course, in tonight's meeting agenda with the name of the affected member not specified. Because the point isn't to shame or embarrass someone, it is just to bring order and to follow the bylaws as written, which is where this process is taken from. This particular article that we're talking about tonight, this actually took effect in April 2023. So if you think this is new and different, you're right, it is new and different, but it was adopted some time ago, but it didn't take effect until this April. This board has enjoyed the benefit, so wait a minute, before I get to that. So it would have been that at tonight's meeting in executive session, which means all these lovely people would have been asked to step out. It would have been at this board's meeting tonight, the Secretary of Administration would have provided each of you with a record of the affected member's attendance, and that member would have had the opportunity to dispute the record's accuracy. At the conclusion of this discussion, the board would have voted by roll call individually to approve or to disapprove the removal of that member. That member sent us a letter, about a week ago, resigning from the board. So then we didn't have to go through that process, which I am ever so grateful for. Because as much as I feel it is, because this board has enjoyed the benefit of large number of applicants to this board every year to the Borough President's Office. Safe to say there are 3 to 4 applicants for every board member that gets appointed. We also have members who will do whatever it takes to attend these meetings. Maybe they're in an emergency, maybe, you know, during the emergency order, we had members connecting to WebEx meetings from emergency rooms, other countries, airports, hospital rooms, and other places. We honor their commitment by maintaining a membership that upholds the bylaws through their consistent attendance. We wanted to explain this to you all because this is new, and we wanted to make sure that there weren't any questions, because we don't want anyone to not understand what the implications are for attendance. And we have gone as a board above and beyond as far as even defining for our board what is an excused absence versus an unexcused absence, whereas prior to this, there was only absence. We have also provided access through extraordinary circumstances to allow people to attend remotely that meet the qualifications set by the state through the open meetings law. And we've also tried to, with the committee meetings now having to come in person, trying to keep as many of those as briefings so that we can do those online, because we understand the impact to your life. We understand that you're parents, that you're running other races in your life, and some of you are doing 3 things at one time. So we've done our best, so we wanted you all to just understand sort of what this was. So any questions? Yes.
Go ahead,
Yes.
a couple of comments. Again, this was a bylaw that was passed about a year ago, and I think basically what really did happen is that the system worked. You know, it was made that really only a person who really had such poor attendance that it would be very difficult to really justify, you know, would basically be facing the removal for this. You know, it was a document that had teeth. One thing I want to emphasize here is the fact that we do have excused absences. And there was a procedure that we did enact that really defines what the excused absences is. And in fact, that's in the it's in the bylaw. And basically, if you do meet that criteria, definitely contact the office when you know you're going to have something that goes under an excused absence. Or even if there's a medical emergency or something like that, and you really can't contact the office, you can do it the day before. Basically, if things fit that definition, your application would not be unreasonably denied. So I think it's important to look at this. You know, we want to make sure that people who are basically facing removal for unexcused absences are doing it because they don't have an excuse and they didn't take any action to make an excuse. I think it's a very liberal policy of ours. I would invite anybody to either contact the office to get a copy of the policy we made toward excused absences, and it's an important one. So I think that's something that needs to be done. And it's one reason why we can have a strict policy of removal, but at the same time be very lenient in terms of excused absences. And I think that's an important point that needs to be made.
Thank you. Oh, okay, now we have some questions. So we're gonna go to Herb, Matt, and then Martha. Herb, what's up?
If it did go through and the person was removed, does that create a vacancy where another person can have? Or when is the year? Is it January to December?
No, it's April 1 to March 31. So right now, the board we have is the board we have. There's no bench, there's no wait list. We serve the pleasure basically of the borough president. We have toyed around, the executive board is asking the borough president to create a bench. Because at times, part of being in a city is understanding that things are transient. You know, you could in a lick get an opportunity to move your family, let's say to Dusseldorf, Germany, and so then that creates a vacancy. And so then that makes the load heavier for the rest of us to carry. We have talked about that, so that is something that we could consider exploring. Especially I think now in post-COVID, we've seen more attrition because we have different members who have moved on, either out of the country or out of here. We've had one person move to Milan, we have another family that's moving, so it is very common, so it's a good question. So no, we don't have a bench.
Hi. I'm just wondering if so last meeting I was unable to attend.
That's an excused absence.
Oh, I didn't see it on there.
Oh, you were marked as unexcused?
No,
It just says
there is
absent.
no, on the minutes, it's not indicated if you have an excused absence or an unexcused absence. It's noted in the office, and if there were a situation that arose that you would have to be, you know, like the board would review your attendance, those records would be reviewed.
Thank you, by the way, for making that excuse absence.
Is it possible to put like an asterisk next to the ones that are excused and put that at the bottom, just so that it
Just so I
provides
know.
some written proof?
That's up to you. When it was written, it was asked, and
We could do that?
Just because,
All
you
right.
know, we all have things that happen with our family, and I had every intention to be here, and I couldn't. I think you understand that
Oh,
by what
totally.
you just said. Thank you. But I didn't know it was excused, so it would be good if I could be notified, or it could just be in the minutes.
And I thought I had sent a follow-up, and I apologize if
No
I
problem.
didn't, but
Thank you.
indeed, that was excused. Because we have emergencies happen, at the last minute, and some people have emergencies that will allow them to do this, and sometimes there are emergencies that just don't, that they need our full attention. So thank you for that question, Matt, and I will make sure to get you at something in writing so you have something from me. Martha,
My suggestion, and request, please.
is there a microphone, can you pass her that microphone, Salawa?
Yes.
It's not that you're a low talker, it's just
No.
that you're way back.
No, I'm actually in pain tonight, so that's why
babe.
I'm low.
We're glad you're here.
My suggestion and request is, I had an unexcused absence because I'm dealing with the situation. If upon installation and reappointment, if we can be sent the bylaws so that we can know what the current situation is, it would especially be helpful. I was installed during COVID, never had a physical hard copy.
they're on our
It's
website
actually
as
on our
well.
website, just so you guys know, if you go to our website, you go to the About page, the two things that you need to refer to the most are the bylaws, which I don't read through the whole thing. When I'm looking for something, I search for a keyword. Like today, I was searching for something, I looked for that one specific word. The other thing we have is our extraordinary circumstances there, so that you can have those documents at any given time. Hard copies are fine, but they don't go with you. So if you're out, you can just pull it up.
I understand, I'm not requesting a hard
Okay.
copy, I mean,
You just want it emailed to you?
a PDF.
Yeah.
Because what I do, I put everything in chronological order, every year I make a new folder, and everything's attached. There's I don't go to websites and stuff. I have everything that I need when I open a folder and
Not a
click on-
problem.
That would be,
I can shoot that off to you tomorrow.
that would be helpful.
That's probably one of the easier things I'll do tomorrow,
Thank
so
you.
thank you for that. Anyone else need it while I'm doing it? Me, none? Okay, good. All right, any other questions? Martha, would a soft chair be more comfortable for you?
No, I'm dealing with.
Okay, I just wanted to offer, because we do have a couple
No,
hanging
I'm
around.
dealing with nerve issues.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so we talked about the minutes, we talked about that explanation. Attendance, did everyone get one of these tonight? Okay, and, okay, great. Everyone signed in. If you have one of these things, I'm assuming that means you signed in. Also, if you are on the select committee for the Rockaway Beach right-of-way, land use, parks, or transportation, and you haven't talked to them about an upcoming committee meeting, please try to hit up Christine on your way out to make sure that we have the information we require for those meetings. As we are having meetings in person, some of these places are requiring that we provide them with an attendance list, so that they know who to check in, so that would be very helpful to have. Yes, Latrice, good
Yes,
evening.
quick question about Tuesday's meeting, just for clarity, which committee committee members are required to attend this meeting and which ones are not? Cause you just mentioned 2 committees I am on. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm supposed to be at this meeting or not. Like, I'm just trying to make sense of it.
And this is the meeting for the
The select
Rockaway,
committee for
yeah.
Rockaway Beach
Okay.
Right of Way.
Here's what I wanted, I was gonna put this, I was gonna talk about this in my report. This is in the, you know what? Let me just jump to that one little piece. The Queensway is, we're having a presentation from a city agency, the EDC. And they're going to talk to us about, the current phase of the Queensway. Now, we have a committee that we've put together, and that would be the main committee for that meeting. Because this is an issue that is so consequential to the community, because that right of way runs through, really, the top like a friggin' zipper. We thought it made sense, because this is a city agency, because they are coming to us sorta early, but they're they're really like a bat out of hell on fire, because we feel like they're really moving quickly. We thought it would be best to give this some extra scrutiny. So the way the meeting would function is that the EDC would present to us, the select committee would ask questions first, the feeder committees, which are land use, transportation, and parks, all those members who aren't on the select committee would then ask questions, and then we would take questions from the public. We just felt that if we want to do the best thing for our community, since they're meeting with us so early, we weren't expecting this meeting for several months, that it just made sense for us to put as many eyes and ears in the room so that they could hear our questions and hear our concerns early while there's still runway to deal with them. But only the select committee is required, but we are asking for those other committee members, if possible, to prioritize that meeting. It's in Regal Park.
I can be there next
yeah.
Tuesday, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
This is close to my house anyway, so it's a proof and a plus for me. But I was
Yeah,
like,
because nothing's ever close to your house, that's for sure. I know that, 'cause I'm just down the block.
No, but like, I was just like, okay, I got your email and I was just kinda confused. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
So thank you. Thank you.
we're in an interesting place, because it used to be that these things that would come before the board were very cut and dry. They kind of fit the committees. But we're finding an intersectionality happening with some of these things, that it only stands to reason that we bring as many voices into the room. So, and also just a note, committee meetings are open to everybody. Ask Kavish. He should be getting a free box of donuts, because he literally attends every committee meeting. So they are open to everyone. So you can come and listen. If you know that something's gonna come up on our agenda in a couple of weeks and you're not on that committee and it sounds like physics to you because it's just like a little abstract, that's how I feel about physics, go to that meeting. Listen in. If you can't go, now that we're posting them, listen to them, because they may answer some of your questions before you get to that meeting so that you're better informed. There's a lot of layers of an onion to city government, and the more that you can kind of learn, and hey, throw on the YouTube while you're in the shower, throw on the YouTube while you're cleaning something so you can distract yourself from doing the horrible thing you have to do around the house you hate to do, so that maybe you're just focused on that and not what you're doing. Whatever you can do to try to stay connected and be better informed, that's kind of the deal. Any other questions? Yes, Pat? No, we cannot, we do not have the capacity to live stream. It requires a bandwidth that we cannot get at this time. Okay, moving on to my report, and I'm gonna try to do this lip slipping. A reminder, this Saturday is the street cone naming ceremony in honor of Dr. Carl Newman. Dr. Carl Newman was a member of this community board. He died during the pandemic. He was the representative from this board on the committee to handle COVID. He represented the board on all issues for the city on behalf of this board. He has been a pediatrician in the community. It will be this Saturday, October 14th at 1 o'clock. I know, it's going to rain. Get a good umbrella. It'll be on 110th Street and 70th Road. So again, that's this Saturday, October 14th at 1 p.m. On 110th Street and 70th Road. We already talked about the first meeting that's coming up this week. The second important meeting that's coming up this week is on Thursday, and it's at Common Point, the Central Queens Y. It is at 6:30, and the hosting committee is the Consumer Affairs Committee. We will be meeting with 4 applicants looking to open adult use cannabis retail dispensaries in our district. We just got those applications in last week, and we've gotten an extension. Christine hustled and got us an extension, with the agency for 30 days so that we have an opportunity to have them in a committee meeting and then to, bring them before the full board. We've designed a questionnaire that we will be completing and answering for us that will be supplied to the community board prior to the meeting. So those are the two next really most important upcoming things as far as this coming week. A few housekeeping items, committee members, if you cannot attend a committee meeting, please let your chairs know. We had one committee meeting this month, and I'm not gonna say who it was, but there was not a single committee member that showed up. Not a single person. It was on WebEx, but there was nobody. So you guys need to be communicating with your chairs. So if a date is set and you can't make it, reach out. As soon as you get that notice, if you see a conflict, reach out, because once you get that notice, we might have time to cancel it and reschedule it, because there may be a consensus that that date just doesn't work for everyone. The other thing is chairs. Please try to work with your committee members in advance when picking dates. We know that there are times when an agency you have to meet with has limited availability, like this cannabis meeting that we have to have, like this meeting with the EDC, like the meeting we've had with the Long Island Railroad. But where it is possible, let's be as collaborative with our members as we can be when picking meeting dates. And understand that attendance, that we were directed by the BP's office this year to report on not only board attendance, but on committee attendance. So I'm just saying, I don't know how, or if this is gonna play into anything, but I just feel like on the point of full transparency, to just let you know that this is something that we're being asked to look at this year, which is new. So please do your best to uphold your commitment to your committees where you can. We know that sometimes you cannot, but the most important thing is that these committees meet quorum. Because if the committees can't meet quorum, then everything you're meeting about, you can't actually take any kind of action on, because you can't vote on the action. So really, the meeting just ends up being informational. It doesn't ever move the ball forward. And I think we're all here and we're all spending our time because we want to move the ball forward. We just don't want to be talked to all the time. So I just wanted to explain that. I also, it's also something else too. How many of you spend any time in the community groups on Facebook? Forest Hills Parents, Progressive Forest Hills Parents, Kew Gardens, Forest Hills Friendly Neighborhood, Not So Friendly Neighborhood, Forest Hills NYC. Okay. All right. We hear everything, we see everything that people are posting. And those people would very much like to be in this room and have the opportunities to advise and do what we're doing. So we honor them by, even though sometimes some of the comments are kind of brutal, we have the opportunity to take what they say in those groups and bring it to these committees and try to make some action. So just understand that, this is our opportunity to sort of be the hands and feet, sometimes the ears at least, of the community. Just a few last things to note. Senator Dabo mentioned it tonight. We are still in hurricane rain season. Please know your zone. Do you live in a flood-prone zone? If you aren't sure, Google Know Your Zone NYC, because we do have a few evacuation zones in this district. We are not, free of the risk of flooding. We also have, I wanted to bring this up, we have 2 more City of Yes text amendments coming our way for vote, probably in the next 30 to 90 days. We voted on the carbon zero, right? And we voted on that earlier, I think the summer, right? That was in June? Yeah, so these are not gonna be so easy to pass. So we're asking for you guys to try to learn a little bit about this in your free time, of course, haha. Google NYC City of Yes to learn more. These relate to zoning changes, and some of the zoning changes are significant. For example, we were talking about parking tonight. One of the proposals is that new apartment buildings will not be mandated to provide a certain amount of parking any longer. They could basically build a co-op or build a condo or apartment building without any parking whatsoever. Also, please pay attention tonight to the report, the committee report that Keith Engel is going to give us on the elevators project for Long Island Railroad tonight. He's got some updates. On Friday, we will be including a street harassment survey in our Friday distribution. Please take that survey and share it out. Please take it yourself and then share it out. We know this is a problem, that street harassment is a problem, and we believe, the more we know about it, the better the city can target and troubleshoot it. It's like why we believe in 311. Data runs this city. And then just a quickie update. Work is ongoing at Union Turnpike and Metropolitan. They are doing some upgrades to the intersection to make it easier to cross without praying that you won't die when you get to the other side. So that is not going to be completed yet, but it is ongoing. Yes.
Do you have any information on the work that's been ongoing for the past month on Metropolitan by 69? And it looks like it extends to the library. It's on both sides of the streets.
I have no information right now. I've taken it down. I see Chris taking it down, so the office can follow up and let you know. But thank you for that. And again, these are things, you don't have to wait for this meeting. Next time you see it, it's bugging you, just email the office or email me, I'll forward it to them.
It's been going on from Monday through Saturday for about a month now.
1 month.
They're digging under the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They cordon off the roads.
Okay.
And they have these trucks that you don't even know
What they're doing.
who they belong to.
Okay. We'll follow up on that for you. Yes, Matt? Oh, Howard. Mark, going down the job. Okay. Howie, what's up? Howie, do you have a question? He's trying to unmute you. It's not working. Oh, there. Go ahead. What's up? Yeah. That's coming up in a couple of steps. We're not quite there yet. Okay, you're flying ahead of us. We'll catch up with you in a minute, okay? You're very welcome. Okay, now, oh, yes.
Could you just repeat the day and location of the cannabis meeting?
Yes, it is the 19th, Thursday the 19th, 6:30 p.m. at the Common Point, Central Queens Y, the multi-purpose room. And also, just so you guys know, you typically can go to our calendar, and if you hover over the date and the meeting name, it will give you the agenda and the information for the meeting, and it's kind of handy dandy. Yes, Christine?
I just want to reiterate something you said about the meeting at Common Point. If you plan on attending, we need to know. They asked us for a list of attendees to, come into their building, and we're gracious that they're offering us the space, so let us know ahead of time. Just email me or call the office. Just let me know that you're attending or you're not attending.
So Pat, would you like us to put you on the list tentatively for that meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Christine, for that. Okay, now, last week Tanya Padgett resigned from Community Board, leaving us with an opening for the Secretary of Administration. Before we move into nominations, I need to say a little something about Tanya. Tanya worked tirelessly to push out important information to our community on Facebook. When she took over Facebook, our Facebook account, we had a little over 120 followers. Today, we have 808. A lot of her work was done behind the scenes, as is a lot of work on the executive committee. Her work and dedication is sincerely appreciated, and these will be big shoes to fill. The position of administrative secretary includes reviewing the minutes from each monthly meeting, and that means going over them with a fine-tooth comb, as you can see. Sometimes how we say things really, really matter. And working collaboratively with public relations, social media. As described earlier, you will play a pivotal role in ensuring that our attendance policies are upheld. As a member of the executive committee, you will be asked to attend various meetings as needed and respond to various emails throughout a given week. A quick response is typically required, as many items we are dealing with as an executive committee are time-sensitive items. We are a working executive committee and don't function as figureheads. This isn't a resume filler. This is a roll up your sleeves and get dirty kind of job, good dirty. We feel it only reasonable to give you an advanced warning of that fact. So the process will be as follows. We will open the floor for nominations. After all the nominations are made, we will ask you one by one to stand at your seat. We'll make sure you get a microphone and tell us about yourself and why this role is suited for you. Also understand that we have ranked choice voting, so we will, after we've collected the nominations and closed them, we will walk you through what that entails tonight when you fill out your ballot if you've not voted that way before. So, I would like to open the floor for nominations. Mark Laster.
I nominate Matt Salt.
Do I have a second for Matt Sultan? Who is the second? Okay, Katrina. Okay, so we've got Mark on the first and Katrina. Do I have another nomination? Okay, Peter?
I nominate Salwa Baida.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second? Oh, Anicia, ONTT. We've got 2 seconds. Okay, a second and a third. Okay, so Salwa Badia is Peter, PT, and Anicia. Do I have another nomination?
Sure. I'd like to nominate Kevin Lee.
Okay, we have Kevin Lee. Do I have a second to that nomination? Kavish? Okay, so I have Edwin as the first, Kavish as the second. Do I have any other nominations? Seeing as there are no more nominations, nominations are closed. I will go in order of nomination. I will do Matt first, and then it'll go Matt, Salwa, and Kevin. Do you have a microphone over there, Salwa? Can you pass it down to Matt? And if you could stand so we can see you better. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Matt Sultan. I live in Forest Hills. I've been on the board now for a year. Prior to that, I was a public member. I'm co-chair of the Environment Committee. It's what I do for a day job as well. I work for New York League of Conservation Voters doing federal policy work. And so now I'm also on the committee for that. I want to just touch on why I think I care so much about the environment, because I'm spending so much of my time doing it, is because if we don't have a good environment to live, then all of the other issues that this board and everything else deals with is sort of secondary. Because if we don't have clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and safe food to eat, then everything else becomes more difficult. I think we're increasingly seeing that as difficulties. We saw with the smoke and the air quality issues. We're seeing it with flooding happening, and so that's what I spend a lot of my time dealing with. I was asked to run for this position. I've been on the board. I want to get more involved. Living here is not just living here for me. I want to be more involved in the community, and I see this as a way to be more involved with it, and I hope you support me. Thank you.
Salwa?
Thanks, Matt. I second your sentiments. Good evening, everyone. My name is Salwa Baida. It's pronounced Salwa. Tend to kick it out on the second half. My name is Salwa.
Ice cream cone it there.
I've never been asked to be louder. This is a really special moment for me.
There you go.
I'm a parent. I'm a local attorney. I'm a full-time parent at the moment, and I usually take a couple of freelance cases. And I'm also almost done renovating our home. I'm a new homeowner. This is our second year owning a home near Cuca Cafe. If you're ever nearby, ping me and we can try to grab something. Tanya unfortunately needed to resign, and I got to speak with her both through the committee that we're on, which is the Public Relations Committee, and the as well as social media. It covers both. I got to learn a bit about what the role entails. I got to speak with her about the role, and she, was very kind and said she thought I'd be perfect for it and the best person for it, which I thought was, particularly from Tanya, a really kind thing to say. I agree with Heather that she's worked tirelessly, and getting to know her, I realized that, some of the times that she was emailing us and all of us or posting things, she had literally had like 18-hour days. I also second just applauding and thanking her. In terms of the role itself, it seems like, as she described it, is what you make of it, but there are key aspects to it. So the first is the obvious secretarial duties, which entail reviewing the minutes and being able to, collaborate with staff and with the office as well, which as a compulsive note taker, I feel strongly that I am equipped for. And she also talked a lot about just being collaborative. She said that the team that any of us who would be able to take on this role that we would be walking into would be an exceptional team. And she and John mentioned also that you don't have to always agree, but you should be agreeable. And I just love that. I think that that's exactly how committees and community boards and really any interaction should work. So I would hope that you hold me to that. She also talked about how so much of it is supporting the executive and the chair. So committees are going to need help. The chair is going to need help. Sometimes that takes the form of being able to amplify a significant event, kind of like the October 17 Queens Way event that we mentioned, and being able to amplify that through our various forums. And she also talked about, just loving the community. And she said, and that's why I think you'd be great for it. I love the community, as all of you do. And I think that all of us are here to serve and to actually be helpful. So if I could do that and be helpful and actually be of use, I would love to, particularly because this is one of the few times in my life that I have a little extra time to do so. What else? I also just wanted to make a shout out to Senator Addabbo, who, in order to get barred for New York State to become a lawyer here, you have to get interviewed, and you're like this light shaky little, newbie, and you pass the bar exam, but you haven't gotten this fitness test that says, yes, you've been evaluated and you can move forward with your application. And Senator Addabbo was actually the person who did mine, so, but I think he's got it. But anyhow, so, and finally, I just wanted to say that if you have any input, any thoughts or ideas that you've seen in the past, especially those of us, some of us are newbies and some of y'all are veterans, if you've seen something that you thought, man, it's really, really useful if the secretary could do X, Y, Z, or if somebody on the board could help with X, Y, Z, please let me know, and I'd love to help. And whoever is able to be nominated and is honored in that way, I'm happy to help y'all as well. So, thank you so much.
They got rid of the fitness character interviews, by
There
the
you
way.
go.
I went through the same thing. They don't do it anymore.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
So my name is Kevin Lee. I am running for Secretary of Administration for Queens Community Board 6. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather today. I'm running because I would like to serve on the executive committee. I believe that it's going to be really important just moving forward to have someone on the executive committee who can be a voice of reason, who can be an ear for the neighbors, and who can be a true advocate and fight for Forest Hills and Rego Park. This is a very difficult time for so many of our neighbors and our friends and family members who are in the Jewish community right now. And whenever I have a platform, I tend to speak up, and I will make sure to voice my opinion and our opinion and listen, right? Previously, before I served as Secretary of Finance. I was on the DC committee. I worked to stop Asian hate. I fought really hard to bring pre-K and put it onto the budget, which is on the agenda today. And so those are some of the things that I can talk about. Most of you guys know me. Wear different hats. We're in the community. And I really believe in pushing forward. I hope I earn your vote, but if not, I still respect my fellow candidates. I think any of us will do a great job. And so, compassion, empathy, and strength, I think that those are a few of the values that I'll bring to the executive committee. Thank you for your time. I hope I earn your vote.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, Christina's going to start handing off the ballots in just a moment. As we have more than 2 candidates tonight, we will be using ranked choice voting per the bylaws to select the next Secretary of Administration. After all the candidates speak, you will be handed a blank ballot. You will then write down each candidate's name and rank them from 1 as your most favorite, and 3 being your least favorite for this role. So you'd rank them 1, 2, and 3. Once done, raise your hands and Christine or Maria will collect them from you. This will take some time. So once all the ballots have been collected, we are going to move on with our agenda. Once she has this tabulated, because this isn't as straightforward as regular ballot counting, she will let us know and we will announce the new Secretary of Administration at that time. To my friends on WebEx, Howard, Dr. Renee, and Sherry, earlier today I sent each of you an email with instructions on where to send your ballot and how to rank choice and how ranked choice voting works. Mark has written the name of the 3 candidates in the chat. If you could take the next 5 minutes to complete and submit your ballot, we would appreciate it. The ballot will be sent directly to Christine Nolan's Community Board email. Any problems with this task, please use the chat to communicate with Mark Laster. Mark will let you know when voting has concluded and we are moving on to the next agenda item. Thank you very much.
Heather, there's some requests to repeat the names of the people that were nominated.
The first name,
spell it.
we'll just do first.
You can
names.
just
How
do
about
the
that?
first name.
Matt, okay, yeah, put your names out front, guys. Matt Sultan, Salwa, Badia, and it's S-A-L-U-A, and it's Matt, M-A-T-T, and then Kevin, K-E-V-I-N. If you just write their first names, that should suffice.
Heather, I also just want to mention, there's 5 lines on your ballot. We had no way of knowing how many people would be nominated. We thought 5 was a safe guess. That would be less than that. So you only have to put 3 names in order of preference. Leave the other 2 blank. And there is a space on the ballot for your name. This is not a secret vote, so you do have to put your name to make sure everybody's voting once.
You misspelled it. Matt can't misspell it. I don't know. I think if you just S-A-L-W-A, it's not matter, Kevin.
Yes, yes, yes. Does anybody still have a ballot?
Christine, do you have them all from the room now?
Count, I have to count to see how many
Okay.
people are here. Everyone says they have it again?
Okay. She's gonna double check us. And Mark, if you wanna make your way around so that we can start the next part, or can you step over there?
Yeah.
Oh. While Christina's checking that, we sent you all in your beautiful little packets. You know, I love letter 201. The budget priorities that we're gonna be voting on tonight, so it'll make it easier tonight if we have any changes. If you can sort of follow along at home, like this is your little scorecard, like you're playing Yahtzee with the kids. This will help you sort of follow along and keep track of the changes. And Mark will explain that to you. Christine, are we good to go?
I don't know. I didn't get a vote from Howard.
Okay, so,
I got Renee and I got Sherry.
maybe, Howard, did you submit your vote? Can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Did you email Christine, thumbs up? Yes, you did? He says he did. Okay, all right, we're going to go ahead. Mark, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thanks, Heather. Good evening, everybody. So I just want to review how we got the budget priorities that you see in front of you. In April, we asked all committees to submit their budget proposals by June. Thanks to all committee chairs and co-chairs who followed up on this. Heather and I reviewed these proposals, and Heather then created a spreadsheet listing all of them, and then prepared a poll that went out to the community, and we received feedback from 139 community members. We then held a chairs meeting back in September, where all the committee chairs and co-chairs attended, and after some discussion, we agreed to list the priorities you have in front of you. So, any questions about this process and how we got to this point? So, for this evening, I will ask if anyone would like to make any changes. We're gonna start first with the expense priorities. Please note that we had 40 priorities and we're only allowed 25. So we needed to cut down, that's the submitted list. So do we have any suggestions on how to change this? Okay, any others? All right, so I just want to go through, Michael, what you have to do, and if anybody else changes their mind. We just have to remember the mayor's announced there will be cuts to agencies even for this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, which we are currently working on. Therefore, we need to be certain our top 10 priorities for both capital and expense are the highest priorities for our community. If you would like to suggest moving a priority around, please prepare to make a motion and choose what you would want to move, give the priority number, where you want to move it to, and the arguments as to why you want to move it. Then we'll take that motion, we'll then ask for a second, and the person who seconds it then ultimately will need to continue to vote for that motion. So we'll start reviewing these and then reach agreement on which of the 15 priorities we need to drop. It will be the same process described above. If you want to either move a priority higher or lower, you need to make a motion with the arguments that must receive the second. So Michael, so let me just get my pretty sheet in front of me. So,
Okay, go ahead, Matt, bring it up. Who's it, Matt?
No, Michael.
Michael, thank you. Go ahead.
So Michael, so under expense, what do you want to do?
Motion to accept is written.
Okay, so are there any, so there are no changes? Howard's raising his hand.
Move the table until we heard from Howard.
Okay, so you're just emphasizing how important that priority is that correct, Howard? So you're saying that's important, correct? And we're talking about, okay, we're talking about a specific location, so that would be handled by calling the office. Okay, so can you call the office with that specific problem tomorrow? Thank you so much. Fabulous. Do you have any other things to contribute to this vote? No? Okay, thank you very much.
So again, any other motions to make any changes?
Well, I second Michael.
So Michael made a motion to accept the expense budget priorities as proposed. Is there a second to that motion?
Aye.
Thank you. And all in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? Thank you. Now we're going to move to the expense priorities. So again, any changes with any of these expense items?
Three, I think has to change.
Somebody, Steve, Michael. Number three.
Subway elevators?
On the capital.
Yeah.
You want a capital or you want
You want
expense?
subway elevators?
Is that an elevator? Is it
If he said expense.
Currently number three.
Hey, guys, if we want to do this quickly, if you have something, can you cross conversation quietly like you're in church? We're doing capital, expense just passed.
Right, so he's calling
All right,
Yeah, expense just passed, so we're doing capital.
So priority number three, and where do you want to move it to?
No, I don't know if it's correct anymore. Was there a change in that?
Oh,
Ramps instead of elevators?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's just for my.
If I may?
Yeah.
Just to clarify that priority addresses more than just the Long Island Railroad, that also addresses subways, which actually we have a few of them, right? So item number 3 says subway elevators as well as the elevator. So that regardless of what happens at the Long Island Railroad station, our need for increasing accessibility to subways remains priority.
I have another one. Number 10, the accessibility of libraries. Isn't that is that additional ADA accessibility to libraries that don't have ADA accessibility? There are only 3 libraries. Eagle Park is getting a new one, and Forest Hills, I thought, was ADA? Is it made ADA?
Yeah, it basically is asking for
North is
accessibility.
the only one then, okay.
All 4
No,
agencies.
North Forest Park.
North Forest Park, I'm sorry. All right.
Any? No, all right. Heidi?
I have a question. It has number 17, security cameras at public schools. Do we know how many schools do have them, how many schools don't have them, and where we are so that we know what we're voting on?
Here's the situation. We have when I was education chair, this has been a priority. We asked SCA to let us know the percentage of schools that required a security upgrade. Because we knew that, for example, my child's middle school at the time was getting one. They would not tell us. They felt that it was a security compromise to give us that information. So we put this, the education committee puts this on the list because we all prioritize that our schools are safe. So that's how it ended up on this list. We do not have the necessary information from the state agency to know what percentage of schools require enhanced security systems and which do and don't have. We do not know. And we have asked more than once.
Okay, to me, that would become important, moving it up, if we identify.
I agree with you 100% because
I would prefer to make that somehow within the top 10 and maybe try and find out, because particularly in the environment we live in, my opinion, that's a priority.
yeah, and I will tell you, having been a parent on the safety committee at an area middle school, and what they will tell you about security cameras are, they're great, but they're only so much of a deterrent. They tell you more after the fact. So as much as they are very helpful, they have tons of other things in their school safety plan, their toolkit to help. But I agree with you, and that's why we've asked for years as to, so that we know whether this should go higher. Like, are all schools, why would we keep putting this on our list if all schools have been upgraded at this point? I'll turn it over to Mark.
All right, so, yes.
Question, have we tried to reach out to the DOE? Have we tried to reach out?
It's not the DOE. The DOE does not run the maintenance of our schools. The School Construction Authority, that is a state agency.
And not even NYC?
No, yeah, it is a state agency. It's just like the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority, state agency. School Construction Authority, state agency. I get that. Keep knocking on doors, right?
Thank you, Mark. So currently it's at number 17, but I can use the mic.
Thank you.
So currently it's at 17, but I would also agree that it should be moved up, right? Like, regardless of the transparency or the feedback that we receive, we as a community board should, if we believe it's important, let's back it up.
Are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion. Do you want to make the motion, Heidi?
You can make the motion.
Should we go for top 10?
The motion is what?
The motion is to move security cameras at public schools to
So where do you want to move
top
security
10.
cameras to?
What are you
What
taking
position?
off?
What number?
What
You want, it's
position?
currently 17, what number would you
You
want
have
to
to
put
look
on?
what you're taking off.
Move it up and put everything else down.
I would move it to number 10.
Put everything else down.
Number 10. All right.
And
So
move
if
everything
this
else
number,
down.
that would drop ADA accessible, all the things below that.
And right, and we would drop ADA accessible to number 11, and
Right.
I would just,
Okay.
I would make, my motion is to move security cameras at public schools to item 10 on the capital
Okay,
list.
and is there a second?
And I'll second.
Okay. All right, any discussion? Say it.
Yes, does that include, when we say at public schools, does that generally
Can we use the
include?
mic? I'm sorry.
Oh, of course. When we say security cameras at public schools, does that also include public school buses? I know that was sort of a part of the discussion at some point. Only the school premises?
Right.
I see, thank you.
Yes.
need to remind everybody that ADA accessible means women with carriages, pregnant women, people with disabilities that are in wheelchairs going to work. Let's think of the construction of the community. Not every subway station.
Okay, Martha, this is.
I
So
don't-
this
I-
motion,
I
this is to
don't-
the motion.
No,
whether
but it
we-
applies because they're moving down ADA
Okay.
accessible.
And to me, that's important. I want to remind everybody that not all the stations in the Forest Hills, Eagle Park area have elevators. So now we have to take buses. Please keep this in the back of your mind. That's all I'm asking.
Right.
Martha, just to.
So again, ADA, just to, if we do move security cameras to 10, ADA accessible at libraries go to 11. So that's what you're talking about. Okay, I'm sorry, thank you. Any further discussion about this motion? Oh,
No, that's residual.
yeah, I don't think he's for this, but thanks. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none. All in favor of moving item 17, security cameras, to number 10, please raise your hand. Wait, so, one.
Keep your hands up.
Guys, keep them up, I'm sorry.
Yes.
We're gonna do an audit here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15. How many opposed?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, sorry, 11, 12,
So we got 12 against.
12 against.
So, motion carries. Okay, so now we move security cameras from 17 to 10.
Yes. Michael Arcadi?
Motion to accept as amended.
Is there a second to that?
No, I
You have to, you have to
Okay.
contain the motion.
Is there a second to Michael's motion?
Second.
Oh, okay.
There's a second.
I second. I second.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Who seconded it? I need to.
I seconded it.
Edmund. Oh, my Edmund, okay, thank you, Edmund.
All right. So Pat, you want to make a comment?
Yes.
Okay, so we first have to, all in favor of.
No. Discussion.
Discussion first.
Discussion.
Rolling the motion.
Discussion on Michael's motion. Yeah.
I don't think the change.
Okay. So I guess.
Well,
any
what
further-
change are you gonna make? Since we moved ADA accessible libraries to 11, since the number 9 is reconstruct Regal Park Library, why don't we put ADA accessibilities at libraries into position 9, reconstruct the Regal Park Library to number 11? Since it would be more important for the accessibility.
Okay, so.
And Michael, is that, would you consider that a friendly amendment to your motion?
I'd like to speak on this.
Can we get him a microphone, pass it on down, Heidi, you got it. It's a hot potato.
For those who are new to this process or maybe don't remember, first, everyone had an opportunity to vote on this online. Then we had separate committee meetings to vote on this and select. This has been around the ringer multiple times. If we open the door to all of a sudden reshuffle these priorities, we will not be done for about an hour. So, this has all been discussed. The committee up there worked very hard on these priorities. This has been settled. In all honesty, if it's not in the top 5, it's not really gonna make much of a difference. So that's all I have to say. I would like the motion to be entertained.
So I guess the motion on the floor is.
So wait, if you want, I mean, in a sense, Pat would make an amendment to the motion, and then if it's not a friendly amendment, then we vote on that
Well, his
amendment.
thing was her motion
Then we go to
second.
the main motion.
Okay.
What's Pat's motion second?
I second Pat's motion.
Alright, and so now we're going to the amendment.
Right, it's not a friendly amendment, so now we have to vote on.
So we have to vote on the regular amendment, okay. So again, so Pat, your proposal is to move the ADA accessible libraries up to number 9. And then you wanna then switch that out to reconstruct Regal Park Library to number 11. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Can I speak on that motion?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, but I know people may be, I know, I'm not that loud. I know people may be reluctant to say, you know, why lower the Regal Park Library? The fact of the matter is this has been funded. It is now basically, on all of the stages. There's not a question of it being defunded and things of this nature. Basically, we're really asking for continued support here. So I think that the benefits of moving the accessibility outweigh any costs that lowering the library would be. And for that reason, I think Pat's motion makes a lot of sense. It would still be number 11, which is still very high, but it would still be but it would give great attention to the question of the accessibility. So I would support Pat's amendment.
Do you have a microphone, Jean?
Yeah.
She needs a microphone.
I need a microphone now.
Pass it on down, folks. You're not that loud. I know you think you are, but you're not. Good night, Richard.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Since the library is already funded, most of its money is whatever, it's in the process and whatever, and it's gonna go on. I back up with Pat that, you know, move it up, move it down, and put ADA up, stop chopping ADA all the time you turn around. We are the least, if any of the choppers out there, you should think about chopping.
Okay, it seems like since we're all kind of saying, are we all gonna say kind of the same thing? It's already funded.
I was gonna say something totally different.
Okay, because I just wanna make sure that we're not repeating, because this is the bad. Bruce, go ahead, my friend.
Semi-lied. I want to make the same point in the opposite direction. Because we could have had this conversation, because I've been here for a long time. For that entire long time, it goes back at least, well, it goes back 8 years. The Regal Park Library has been fully funded. And you know, for many years, the Regal Park Library is the top priority on our list. We kept dropping it down, and we promised that it's been fully funded. And we keep getting press releases every 6 months that the library is only a year away. And if the library got built the first time that press release came out, it would have been built and opened. We'd be talking about renovating it again because it'd be so old. So I'm not in favor of moving this thing. If it was up to me, this would still be the #1 priority. But I hate to sound cynical about the whole thing, but I am. We've got to keep pressure on these people, because until I see a shovel in the ground, I don't see nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. There is room for cynicism in government, let's face it. Okay, Latrice, and this will be the last comment on the matter, so that we can
Actually,
then go.
my comment is totally unrelated to Pat's issues, but since I have the mic, I'll go ahead and speak on it now.
Wait, we have to stay on the issue.
This is about whether or not we're gonna move the 2 priorities.
Okay, no, but I wanna talk about something totally different.
Okay, then let's hold that. Let's hold that, we'll get to that.
All right.
Okay, Latrice, all right, write it down.
Okay, so I guess that's it, so.
Call the question.
Let's call the question. All in favor of moving, again, to repeat the suggestion, we're gonna be swapping out ADA accessible libraries with Reconstruct Regal Park. Because ADA accessible libraries are now gonna be 11. We're moving 11 up to 9, and then we're moving Reconstruct Regal Park Library to 11. So, all in favor of the move, please raise your hand.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so we have 17 to move.
All opposed?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Motion carried.
The motion carries.
So
now we go back to Michael's.
we go back to Michael's motion, right?
Yes.
So right now we're talking about Michael's motion to
to basically accept the capital expenses as adjusted. We made 2 adjustments, as adjusted. And, any further discussion on that motion?
And Latrice, do you have any further discussion on budget priorities?
No, it's my capital. No, I'm not gonna make any amendments. That's not what I was
Go
going to
ahead,
comment on. What I was gonna speak on is number 1, which is one of the things I do advocate for. I just wanted to bring people's attention to, yesterday in, AM New York, there was an ad for quote-unquote affordable housing at 69-65 Yellowstone Boulevard. Now, in tribute to Bruce's cynicism, whenever I see the phrase affordable housing, my first question is always affordable for whom? Because according to the ad here, for a 1-bedroom, the monthly rent will be $2,750. Now, and the annual household income minimum would be $94,286. Now, I don't make that much in a year, and even if I did, that under no circumstances would be considered affordable. Also, another thing I want to point out is until recently, housing would be set aside for people who live in the community board. That has since been challenged, and I know that's working its way through the courts. But I wanted to point that out to people because, again, affordable housing, I'm just gonna say it, it's ridiculous. $2,750 for a 1-bedroom apartment. That is not affordable. That is an insult. Thank you.
And just so you know, Latrice, that was an as-of-right construction that we had nothing to do with whatsoever. We had nothing to do with Trader Joe's. We had nothing to do with it at all. That was done as of right. So we need to move to the motion now.
Call the question.
Call the question.
Call the question. So all in favor of accepting the capital budget proposals as amended, please raise your hand.
Yeah, unanimous.
All opposed?
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
And now we gotta do the whole thing, right?
No, we just, and then we just say, do you accept all the budget priorities, capital and expense, as amended?
As amended.
Yeah. All in favor? I know it sounds redundant, but anyone opposed? Good. All right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone. Okay, and this is why committee meetings are important, because these, as to Michael Arcadi's point, these budget priorities are birthed in committees. So that's your best chance of putting things in, is to be in that committee, be on that committee. Or if you have a budget priority that you want to be prioritized, but you're not on that committee, attend that meeting. That meeting will happen, probably later next spring. Okay. Now, Christine, do we have a result?
Yes.
Okay, could you stand and tell us?
Sure. The winner.
Can we give her a microphone?
That's okay, I'll just yell. It was Salwa. She got the most votes.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm finding my place in my minutes. Okay, Beatrice?
Yes.
Are you ready to talk liquor?
I am.
I'm ready to talk liquor. You don't have too many today, it's not terrible.
Hi everyone, my name is Beatrice Leong and I'm one of the co-chairs along with Gladys of the Consumer Affairs, Economic Development, Small Business Committee, and I'm happy to give, I guess, my first report as one of the chairs. There's only one new liquor license this month, and that's at the Redwood Cafe on 118 Queens Boulevard. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a restaurant slash deli. They sort of serve all the office areas near Union Turnpike. The restaurant has been there since 2000, so for over 20 years. However, the current owner has been there for about 1 year. He let the liquor license lapse, and the new owner would like to sell beer with its meal. This is not an application for a full liquor license, it only wants to sell beer. And then we have several renewals of their liquor licenses. Companies and or restaurants that have already had approval of their liquor license, and now they just want another renewal. So one is Sushi Koi at 11637 Queens Boulevard. Another is Tuscan Hills, 11060 Queens Boulevard. Tacombi, which is the the Mexican restaurant on 71-22 Austin Street, and in the Cottage Tavern, which is a bar on 108-07 72nd Avenue, as well as Guantanamera on 110-80 Queens Boulevard, Amore at 102-11 Queens Boulevard, the Macau 2 Palace, along with its sister, restaurants and bars, they're all in the strip together. Sushi and Steakhouse XO and Troika at 102-39 Queens Boulevard /41 Queens Boulevard. Forest Hills Versailles Palace, 63-34 Austin Street in Rego Park. And then, that's it.
Yes, okay. So we're good. Beatrice, thank you so much. Oh, hold on, Beatrice, we got some questions from the group. I'm sorry.
If there's questions, I can answer some questions.
Someone went consumer affairs with you, but I noticed that the last one you mentioned is not on our agenda.
Yes,
So we just
there
wanted
were-
to add it for when we do our minutes.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
we
it's-
sent
it's-
out an amended agenda,
Yeah.
just so
I
you
didn't,
know. Sorry.
I didn't.
It was amended.
Okay.
Number 7, three restaurants. Middle restaurant, how do you have it spelled, sushi, how do you spell steak?
That's how they
it.
spell it.
They spell it not with the ST.
Like a steak?
Exactly, a steak
Yeah,
through the
how
heart,
they
not a.
spelled
not
it
a-
on their application.
You should think of that before you order.
Yeah, that's not a typo.
Not a typo.
Good question. Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Okay, so we're just gonna do a simple, for the new liquor license, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, for the renewals, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Good. Okay, thanks, Howie. Thank you all. Okay, so the next report is, okay, we're gonna do committee reports, and just for a time check, we are at almost 9, so we can keep these to a tight 2.5, 3 minutes. We will take questions, but try to limit your questions. If you need to, you can grab the chairs later. First person up is going to be Keith, so if we can keep this to a tight 3, that would be awesome.
Everyone, so I'm gonna try to keep this tight, since we have a lot of business to get to. So, basically picking up on the intersectionality of this project, I'll be speaking to the joint land use transportation committee meeting that we had on September 14th. So, the purpose of the meeting was to hear a presentation from the Long Island Railroad on the Forest Hills Long Island Railroad Station elevator projects. I'll also add this is the very first public forum for this very important project in the community. And CP6 is actually working very hard behind the scenes for the past several months trying to get this meeting into the public realm. So basically, the Long Island Railroad presented their design for the accessibility upgrades for the station. I'm going to use their term here, and you'll see in a moment there's a reason for this. So basically, the main takeaways from the presentation are that basically, number one, elevators are not under consideration for the project at present. The Long Island Railroad intends to meet the accessibility requirements by rebuilding the existing ramps to comply with ADA standards. Now, as we all know, this is counter to what we heard all along. It was understood that funds were earmarked by Congresswoman Meng for the inclusion of elevators. When we pressed the Long Island Railroad on this, they commented that the elevators were removed due to budgetary concerns. We'll comment more on that. Beyond that item, a few other points. The east and westbound platforms are going to be extended to allow for all 10 cars to open up along the platform. Also, hearing the concerns raised at last month's board meeting from several constituents that live along the railroad, basically there is going to be a sound wall incorporated into the platform design. Big thing, the project is out to bid. I think at the end of last month, the Long Island Railroad was scheduled to receive bids from 4 vendors. So this is underway. Construction is supposed to start next year. It's going to be performed in 3 phases. It's going to take about 3 years. Work is going to occur in the spring and fall only, and this is to accommodate the summer concert season. I'm going to let that simmer for a moment amongst all of us as we think about the community impacts of construction, concerts, construction, 3/4 of the year for 3 years. Following up from the presentation, there's many questions raised, there's many points made, there was impassioned testimony provided by committee members with regards to the specifics of this project that I just mentioned. And it was also made abundantly clear by us, the Long Island Railroad, the failure as a public agency that they made in basically doing absolutely no public outreach beyond a few school meetings with FHGC prior to us calling them out into this meeting. So there wasn't a vote on any joint committee recommendations, and getting back to Heather's point, we did not have quorum. So again, it's really important, guys, to get to these meetings because we weren't able to have any actionable recommendations, but we did basically sum up the points that were raised, and we conveyed this to Long Island Railroad at the end, which are the main points that we made were that we strongly recommend the inclusion of elevators in addition to the planned reconstructed ramps. Second point we made, if elevators are truly not on the table, two design considerations, which are currently in the budget as alternates, and these are more common sense, they should be included, and this includes a canopy at least over the ramps to protect the public from inclement weather, and heat tracing the concrete ramps so that during snow events, there's snow melt that actually happens, people can actually use them. We also asked the Long Island Railroad to strongly consider interim measures that can be enacted that can abate some of the sound-related concerns that we heard from the constituents last month, and also we stated that they should holistically reconsider their slash and burn track maintenance practices, as it's been detrimental to the entire community as it pertains to noise and stormwater control when they actually do clear along the side of the tracks. So several questions were posed to the Long Island Railroad reps during the meeting that require follow-up. One of them is, what's the budget for the project? I couldn't answer that. I'll let that one sit for a second. But now in terms of actionable next steps, we are now working with the Congress member to get a meeting on the calendar as soon as possible between us, the Congress members delegation, members of the FHGC board, and Long Island Railroad representatives. I'll mention that the Congress member is very involved. She was the one that actually called for this roundtable discussion as a collaborative process to really engage the stakeholders in the community. So actually since the meeting too, we've also had some positive dialogue with FHGC as to possible locations for where elevators can actually be incorporated. This is great, just kind of engaging this collaborative process. And it's our hope that this shared dialogue will result in an outcome that from the Long Island Railroad that actually benefits and addresses the entire community as we are their ridership. So I'm now going to open this up the space a little bit for questions, comments. We have to keep it brief because we got to keep moving. Kevin.
Since there was no quorum at the end of the last of that committee meeting or the joint committee meeting, and we're at the general meeting here, is it possible to make a motion to accept all of those recommendations that you just reported on?
I mean, we can make any motion, but I think since we've had some really good progress with the Congress member, we spoke to the Congress member after that meeting, and she's made certain things clear regarding to her capacity, her desire to approve or not approve the project, depending on change of scope. And she's also working with her staff to get a meeting with all the players for Coast Gardens Corporation as a Long Island Railroad. We would like to sort of have that meeting and see if we can move the needle then. And I think if we're not able to move the meeting, then Keith would report back the findings of that meeting, and I think a resolution would be suitable at that time. I think right now I'd like to give this meeting an opportunity to play itself out because we've got all the players at the table as opposed to this sort of, I don't know how to explain it, how they kept all of us in our own little bubbles instead of bringing us all to the table. It wasn't a stakeholder type of investment in this project. So that's sort of what we're hoping for. So that's just my opinion on the matter. But as a board member, you can motion away.
I think we should continue to fight for ADA accessibility in a neighborhood like Forest Hills where we have a private community accessing this. We cannot let this go. That's it.
So are you making a motion?
I'm making a
That
motion
what?
that we continue to keep ADA accessibility on board
But Long Island Railroad will tell you, and Pat will tell you distinctively that what they are doing is they are meeting the mandate based on the law to provide ADA accessibility. But what Pat will also tell you is that they're not providing, they're doing it correctly, but not, tell me if I got this wrong, morally or ethically, because it is a very, I got it wrong. Sorry. But, so you have to clearly define what you mean by ADA accessibility, 'cause they will tell you, that's what we're doing.
Okay, I understand, they wanna provide, covering.
No,
No,
they wanna provide a ramp.
But
That's
we,
it.
but we already have a ramp.
Yeah, that's what
Actually, we don't have it, we don't have an
It's not,
accessible
it's not
ramp.
actually compliant.
It's not compliant.
So, the money that they're going to invest in a ramp that's compliant, and they raise the fares, I'm sure if they can make a little elevator bank that will be accessible for the elderly and the disabled and those who are willing to travel with, that need assistance, and women and children. We can't keep constructing new things without making it sustainable and, allow everybody to access it.
It's basically letter of the law versus spirit of the law. I also want to pass forward to Pat too, for she's gonna say.
I was at that meeting, and you know me very well. I don't keep my mouth shut, I speak what's on my mind. And I lambasted a disabled man for denying disabled people ADA accessibility. And what I said to him, I used to be a 911 operator, police dispatcher, and when you were given an order, you couldn't refuse the order unless it was morally wrong, legally wrong, or ethically wrong. And I told them, they might as well they have the legality, but to deny people an elevator and a ramp that's 75 feet in one direction, and then up another 75 feet, that's 150 feet. Your average New York City block is 200 feet long. That's one block in Manhattan. That's your average street. To go from 98th Street, if you're on 99th Street, over by 65th Avenue, to go to 65th Avenue to 64th Road, that's 200 feet. So just imagine, you're now having disabled people walk up 150 feet, that's 3/4 of a block, then to get to a certain area of the platform, another block. There is no covering. Now, I explained to them, you have people, you have grandmothers, you have the person who's been tired all day, you have the home health aide who's been working, lifting people like me into a bath. People are tired. There is no covering. And not one person, I'm just gonna finish. There is not one person on that board who looked at me, who answered me, or said anything. They didn't even say thank you. This cannot be let go. An elevator is necessary for that one person, the person on the crutches, who doesn't know how to use crutches, the person who's brand new to walking with a walker, for days that are inclement. Me, I can't hold an umbrella and use a walker. I can't leave my home. I couldn't leave my home in the rains we had. How would somebody like me get somewhere? So think about that, about why this damn elevator is so necessary. Thank you.
I will make a motion, unless Peter, you wanna make the motion?
You brought it up first.
I wanna make the motion to accept the recommendations of the Land Use Committee and Transportation Committee as he had read them. And if we have to strengthen it where an elevator is a must, then let's include that.
Why didn't you do that to me?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is an expression of the board.
I would like
that-
for it to
that
come from CD6.
In the upcoming meetings with the Congresswoman at the Long Island Railroad, that the board directs the
So basically, the board, so Kevin wants the board to take the committee's recommendation.
Right.
Okay, because I'm saying we had this discussion already, but okay, I understand where you're coming from.
Right, and specifically to ensure that those participating in those meetings, advocate for an elevator and for covers on the ramps and, heating elements to prevent freezing.
Just wanna bring something up because I worked
Can you give him a microphone? Where is it?
Oh, sorry,
It's coming.
just for the record, I second the motion.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
now-
Peter.
Okay, so now we're having a discussion.
No, I don't wanna belabor the, night here, but I
Appreciate
just
that.
wanna mention an important point, Kevin, you brought it up about ADA rules, okay? We have many subway stations, including 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. If you get off the train, it's completely ADA accessible. There is not one elevator on those platforms, not one. All those are ramps, and they lead up to the next level where you go into the Port Authority with an ADA accessible entrance. Now, that station's completely ADA. There are elevators to the street, there are no ramps to the street. But they figured we'll save hundreds of thousands of dollars and put it to work at another station to provide an elevator, because that station worked with ramps. The ramps go up a long way because it's ADA accessible, and then they come down and it's totally ADA accessible. So if we want an elevator where a ramp would work, meet the ADA law, that's an additional item that they don't have to provide under the law, and we have a funding issue now. Will they provide the elevator and spend more money at Forest Hills on that railroad? Will they provide more money with that? But I just want to clarify the ADA rule, and you have to have a covered ramp according to ADA rule also. You can't have an exposed ramp to the elements. It's also ADA. All these things are ADA.
Artie's next, and then we're.
I just have a question. Was that use the railroad? We're not talking one elevator, we have to be talking two.
We're talking about
We have to be
elevator on each
talking
platform.
two
Yes,
elevators.
two elevators.
Because of the
One
ramp.
addressing eastbound, one addressing westbound, right.
I just wanted to clarify that this is discussed more.
And also, to go back to Herb's point really quickly, yes, but also at the same time, I think this package is being bundled with two other stations, and from some research that Heather did, apparently, we have a station that's highest in elevation. The other two stations are getting elevators, why are we not? So you have to look at like ramps in terms of like, if they overly circuitous, like it literally is 200 feet as per what Pat said. Like it's kind of ridiculous. So ramps can perform the function, yes, but then you're asking people to walk 200 feet. So that's kind of the point of contention, yes.
I just wanted to say thank you to Pat. I thought that during that meeting, you were so incredibly passionate and articulate, and you came out of that bullpen going, and it inspired all of us. And I just wanted to say thank you. That was like amazing leadership.
Okay, so let's take, a vote.
Okay, so taking
Can we try a voice vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Okay, so it passes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is environmental protection. Matt, do you mind giving it from your seat, just so we can speed this up a little rapido?
Okay, I'll go really quickly. Basically, we talked about different priorities in the community board area, mostly talking about curbside composting and how that's been implemented. We talked about noise pollution, as we've heard from tonight. We've talked about the importance of using 311 as a tool when where catch basins might be full or other reasons to call 311. Talked about the state plastic bag ban compliance and which businesses are actually complying with that, and on top of that, the also compliance with getting disposable cutlery from delivery places and which ones are actually following up with that. And then we just talked about the QSWA, which is Queen Solid Waste Advisory Board, and we were talking about possibly getting them to give a presentation at the next meeting. So we'll follow up with that.
Thank you. The next is the Committee for Those Without Shelter report. I'm gonna give that just because I gave the presentation that night, and I'm just gonna give you a brief overview, and then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna send you guys a PDF of the presentation I gave, because we don't have all night. I'm hungry. Basically, the presentation was about a shelter that is coming to our community for families with children, for New York City families experiencing homelessness. It is being built up at 9254 Queens Boulevard, right next to the Regal Park Post Office. So you notice there was a big hole in the ground for a long time, and now they're building like mad. That's what's happening there. It will have 88 units, it will have 8 stories, it is being treated like supportive housing. There is a lot of wraparound services that are being provided by an organization named WestCab. The report we are going to send around will include all of the one-on-one services, what the intake looks like, any items of note, and additional services that they will provide. So I will send this to you because you won't remember a darn thing I just said right now, but if you ever wanna know, you can read it and have it. Okay, so that's me, I'm done, and then next is health, mental health, substance abuse. Just give us a quickie overview if you could, Diana.
Quick overview, we met on September 26th. One of the main concerns that we actually discussed was meeting with the 112 precinct, which was followed up with the following day. We are discussing the Be Heard program. We actually sat down discussing it with the community affairs officers, and we are now scheduling to discuss this further with Chief Basketball. I hope I'm not watching the name, the commanding officer of Queens North. And we would also include the city councilwoman, Lynn Shulman. The next opportunity that we're talking about is also Narcan training, and we just heard Senator Dabble mention that, which I will be following up with him and see how we can have him help us.
Yeah.
I am also, we're looking at how we can really bring out domestic violence and awareness and really provide the community board and people living in the district about education and workshops here. That was it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Renee, can you hear me? Do you have a committee report this evening, Dr. Renee? Okay, then let me get the microphone over to there. Just hold 2 seconds. Can you put that at the front?
And new committee members were introduced, and they have some great innovative ideas how to improve community engagement. And the good news is that our Facebook page is getting more followers. We have now over 800 plus, as opposed to a couple of years ago it was just about 200. So we have moved up in many ways. And we're trying to enhance our website as well, so there were many more ideas. We already are connected on the website, we put it on our Facebook page, and hoping that we can have something like what 2040 has, to get it resolved with problems that we have, so we have that icon, a data issue resolved. And we're moving up the ranks when we're looking at other community boards from Queens and 14. I think we're now pretty much 6 out of 14 in terms of our followers. And we're going to be meeting next month. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renee. Okay, so that is all of our committee reports for tonight. So I'm closing the official business portion of the meeting, moving on to good and welfare. I got you, you're on my list, you already told me. I have Pat Morgan, Heidi Chain, Mark Laster. I should have just put you down, I should just keep you on my list, Edwin. It's like, I have my usual suspects of Edwin, Heidi, and Mark, because y'all always got something going on. Okay, you too, Mr. Herb? Okay, Herb, and then Peter Beadle, anybody else? Jean? Okay, guys, short and sweet is the name of the game. So we're gonna start with Pat, and Pat, can I guess, this is National Coming Out Day, is it not?
Today is National Coming Out Day. October 11th, 1987, the Big March on Washington.
Pat, I know you got a big mouth, but this will help.
Right now. October 11th, 1987, Big March on Washington. It's National Coming Out Day, 36 years. Double high, double life. Next thing, Heather had mentioned about somebody, people being absent and somebody from an emergency room talking. I just want to let you know that since it's Coming Out Day, that was me in the emergency room.
I think it's been you more than once.
Yeah, that was for a committee meeting also, but it was for me. And that was on April 13th of last year. And why I was in the emergency room was I had a stroke that destroyed a portion of my brain, It's called the thalamic stroke. It will never heal. And sometimes I have aphasia. Like tonight, I couldn't remember Heather's name. Like tonight, when I couldn't get my hand up in time to make my motion. Or for discussion. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit patient with all of us who are disabled. I'd like to bring 2 motions, which I'm willing to table to next month, if I'm guaranteed the time. But I wanna bring them up now so that they'll be on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
One, Christine asked me last April to make sure at the main meeting, I mentioned to our newly appointed colleagues to give Joe Hennessy's words. My motion is that it be read at every meeting where we have
Every new member meeting, when we have new members,
Right.
to introduce them to the board.
Right.
Does that work?
Right, because there will come a time when I'm not gonna be here to do it, and someone else may forget, so I'd like to make the motion for us to table it to next month.
Okay.
So that we could do it.
Okay.
This thing I will also table to next month, but I am very passionate about this. Just look out there, some of the community has decided to go home, some of the community has stayed. I would like good and welfare to be moved up in the meeting. I would like to set a motion for us to vote on it next month. Thank you very much. Short and sweet.
I'll second Pat's both motions, if you need a second.
Yeah, I'm only so, you know, I'm not confident. Yeah, we did discuss this.
Yeah.
We did discuss that the good, can y'all hear me?
No.
It's not working, the mic's not working. So it turned off, stupid me. Okay, see, I'm hungry. We did discuss this and vote on this in executive committee, and we had voted against moving it up, just because a lot of times we have in our agenda items that are on the clock. And those have to get voted on, like these text amendments that's coming up and so on. But, since you put forward this motion to table it, we need a second on both of these motions. Edwin, you seconded the second
For
one,
both,
right?
for both, second for both.
Okay, and you seconding both, okay. So, we will put those on the agenda for next meeting. If you could send Joe Hennessy's words to the office, that would be helpful, because then we could include them in the agenda. Because for some people, they're not gonna recollect what those are. Do you have those?
I just got it from the newspaper.
Okay, great, perfect. Okay, next on my list, Heidi Chang.
Next Wednesday, 7:30 at the precinct is the precinct council meeting. Everyone's invited to it.
Okay. Next is Mark Laster.
Okay, got a couple of announcements. This Sunday, October 15th at 2 o'clock, we have Breaking Bread Building Bonds. This is an initiative by the mayor to promote community unity. You'll get a free meal and an opportunity to meet your neighbors, come to Brain Power Wellness, to attend. If you're interested in attending, if you can, everybody should have gotten an invitation. Please submit it if you're interested in coming, because we have to submit the numbers by tomorrow. Saturday, October 21st, there's going to be a tree pick cleaning on Metropolitan Avenue. We're partnering with Metro Village. Barstow Green Team is partnering with Metro Village. With the support of Community Board 6, Assemblymember Hevesy, Councilmember Schulman, and Senator Adavo, to clean tree pits in preparation for the beautification projects along Metropolitan Avenue. And then finally, on Sunday, October 22nd, that's going to be a busy weekend for the Forest Hills Green Team, we're having bench painting and decorating birdhouses at Yellowstone Park. Forest Hills Green Team is working in partnership for Parks and Earth Citizens Club of Queens at our kickoff event to do ongoing work at Yellowstone Park. Meet up at the Yellowstone Boulevard between 68th and 69th Road by the bathroom. And if there's a rain, it happens a lot. The rain date's October 12th. And that's it.
Edwin.
Hi everyone, I'm just sharing on behalf of the Friends of McDonald Park. They will be having an upcoming cleanup slash beautifying and different things at McDonald Park. It's a makeup for the ones that just passed, and you can do it. It's on Saturday, October 21st, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So again, they're going to do a makeover of, I don't know if you guys know the park, there's the Captain Gerald McDonald, he's the statue that you see there. They're going to do a makeover of that whole area because it's gotten a little messy there. Remove and replace the soil, get rid of the weeds, and a couple other things, planting as well as cleaning. So that's just the first one. The second one is FDNY. They're having their open house this coming weekend. It's a reschedule from open house this was last weekend. The one here in Forest Hills, which is on Queens Boulevard, engine 305 and ladder 151, is going to be on Sunday, October 15th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. But there are open houses all across the city at all the different FDNY, both firehouses as well as EMS houses, and you can Google it and search it online and find one in whatever neighborhood you want in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. Next up, I have Herb.
Yeah, two things I promised the synagogue I'll bring up is number one, the airplane noise, which seem to have changed very much. During Sukkot, we always had outdoor events. We have a speaker. We couldn't do anything. The airplanes were coming in one after another, so something must have changed. Number two is the corner that I sent you an email on. Is the broken up concrete that's right next to it. Could be picked up and thrown, so it's a danger. The most important one of all of them is coming to the meeting and almost tripping over the cobblestones or whatever's out there. There is no light when we're leaving. You have to put on your light here, and this is Borough Hall. So, I mean, they could attach a temporary light so that's shining over the entranceway, not on the top of the building, this big floodlight that does not light.
It doesn't illuminate the path.
Everyone leaves the same building, so we know.
Yeah.
It's never illuminated.
Right, so we're talking about Borough Hall.
Yeah, I mean, I use my phone too, yeah.
Asking for them to do other work outside.
Christine, can you reach out to them?
I can. I will send an email to Borough Hall. Just so you know, I mean, I sent an email about tonight's meeting, and Heather had to tell them when she got here that we were having a meeting tonight. So I will send an email, but I can't make any promises.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Jean.
I live at 7720 Austin Street. My people came today and to tell you exactly the nonsense that's going on with these taking of our parking spaces. We came out one morning, excuse me, and next thing we know, there's a car parked there with 2 ticket people sitting in it, and they were just waiting to people park, and they came, as soon as they left, they went over and wrote tickets. And this has been going on. 3 parking spaces in 3 areas on Austin Street. That's 9 parking spaces were taken. No warning, no nothing. 48 years, we always, Thursday is no parking on that street, so now it's no parking from here to here, and they're giving out tickets. They're making a lot of money, they really are. Plus, the funny thing is, the people who make the delivery to trucks, they ain't gonna park over here to deliver over here. That's where they're gonna park. Then they're gonna park and then walk all their stuff down a half a block. So, I mean, that's a crop. That's a farce. You put a spot here for them, they're still double parking along Austin Street. That's number 1. Number 2, the school people, the school that's being built, the building that's being built at 78, the Union Turnpike over there, it's outrageous. The noise that has been going on, the trucks that have been going on, deliveries at 4 o'clock in the morning, they're bringing their trucks and running their trucks because it was cold out there at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then they do their unloading for the next 3 hours and they leave. The noise is just, never mind that. What happened was on 78, they took up half of the block, took all the parking away, they put these barriers up. They went around on Austin Street and took all the parking spaces on that block, which was additional at least 8 parking spaces there. There seems to be no monitoring. I have reported things prior to this, and I know you checked into it. But you know, it doesn't help when the people who's supposed to check them out come at 9 o'clock when the son of a bitches, excuse me, they're at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I wish they would change their hours to 3:30 so they can meet these people every morning. Thank you.
Wow, I don't know that I don't want to be doing tickets at 3:30. I mean, I feel you. I will, Jean, connect you, Peter. We did have a meeting with DOT, I think about 9 months ago, or even a year ago, where they actually asked us as a board to designate loading zones and had us look at those loading zones. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so they have a program called Neighborhood Loading Zones, and they asked for several from the Transportation Committee. That particular stretch that folks have talked about tonight was actually not one of the areas that they identified at the time. But what we had told them is that we would stay in touch and get feedback. So certainly through the office, we'll work with getting back to DOT that this particular stretch along Austin Street we're not resolving the issue of the double parking trucks, and there's a lot of parking complaints. We can definitely get that back to DOT.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so now, actually, Peter, keep it.
Oh. Right, thank you very much. I just wanted to acknowledge tonight that so far this year, and the year is not yet over, 26 people who use their bikes for transportation, like I do, have been killed on our streets. A rally was held tonight in Union Square to acknowledge their deaths and call on the city to do more. I know oftentimes bike lanes are a contentious issue, but there are people who really rely on this infrastructure to get around safely. I just got back from Amsterdam. Amsterdam used to be a city that was clogged with cars and congestion, and in the 70s, after too many of their children were killed, they made a conscious decision to change the way that their infrastructure works. And it's amazing how you can get around that city. No two cities are exactly the same, but this infrastructure is important. There's more that can be done. And so I just needed to acknowledge the deaths of our neighbors and hope that we can bring that number down. It's the highest it's been in over a decade. In fact, there's almost 8 to 10 more people than average in a year. It's really very, very bad.
Just a quick show of hands, how many of you either use a bike or have a loved one that uses a bike? Okay, that's considerable. Thank you for that. Okay, I think, Howard, did you have something to share?
Yes, I do.
He doesn't need a microphone.
Because everyone knows I have two choices, to have surgery or have my foot get a brace. I decided to get a brace instead of surgery. My ankle.
He's had a problem with his ankle for some time, and that's why he's been home. Recently, they found out he had a fracture.
I went to the doctor on Monday, and the doctor said I have a choice.
Surgery?
Or get a brace. I decided to get a brace.
So he's gonna get like a brace, like a boot. All right, did I get it right, Howard? No. So you're wearing a brace and you're not gonna get surgery, and you'll see us in November, right?
Yeah, I have to get the brace first, yeah, so.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You're getting better, right?
Yes, okay, but I'm looking normal, but okay.
Okay, good. All right, that is all from the board. Would the electeds come forward? If there's any electeds or organizational reps here. Amparito, I promised you first dibs because you were freaking here at like 5:30. Amparito, did you hear what we were saying?
I am Amparito with the VP's office, yes.
We were saying, and I don't know if you can do anything about this, but the front exiting out of here is hell. I mean, it is bumpy, it is hard, because now that we're being rerouted, because the light provides no illumination along the path.
I agree with you,
So,
because I go at night and I know.
yeah, because you take the train home too, so
Yes,
if you could be a little pest for us, we would appreciate it.
Of course, I will take this back.
Thank you.
And I know you wanna go home because you're hungry. And everybody else wants to go home. So I'll be brief. I'm just gonna say that VP Richards hosted a vigil on Monday in Kew Gardens alongside Queens Jewish community to mourn the lives lost in the terror attacks in Israel. Joining the VP were elected officials, Jews and non-Jews from across the borough, and more than 100 community members in a show of solidarity. Which is very